The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. One day I traveled to Berlin to see just where the wall was. They tore it down in '89 in the name of love. But to some of us the wall still stands, and to some it never did. The problem lies not in the stones, but in the minds that built it. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. Everyone around the world all feel the same emotions. The children know what Lenin said, that all we need is love. We've glorified the intellect and sacrificed the heart. Let's blow the walls to kingdom come. We all can do our part, yeah. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. Paradise is nothing but a state of mind when there's love in your heart. Unity is waiting just around the bend. Now's the time for us to do our part. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers. The only thing that separates one people from another is the wall inside their heads when they forget we are all brothers.
In my eyes, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, in my life, I have been searching for something, but you were my dream. You're perfect, you're golden, you're the light, your love. You're perfect, you're golden, you're the light, my love. When I breathe, when I swallow, caress I feel. When I listen, I dark. Shallow and in doubt. Oh, when I'm trying my best to put one foot in front of the other. You're perfect. You're golden. You're the light of my life. You're the love from forever. In your reflection, I'm perfect. So I keep looking at you to keep witnessing my perfection. In you as me, light it, 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 light it. Always there, never leave, holding me, set me free, guiding light, your empathy, confidence to express it as me. You're perfect, you're golden. You're the light of my life, you're my love from forever. Your reflection, I'm perfect. So I keep looking at you to keep witnessing my perfection. In you as me, light it, 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 you're perfect, you're golden.
I've got the blues, quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah, quarantine blues. I wish this virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues, quarantine blues. On tour in Chicago, that March day on top of the world. Things were going my way. Started hearing about a virus, a tragic ordeal. When I got back to Nashville, it was getting real. All my shows canceled left and right. Things were gonna get worse when I was leaving inside. I got the blues, quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues, quarantine blues. They started closing up shops, closed the schools, closed down the churches and the honky-tonks too. Closed the restaurants, closed the parks, rolling up the sidewalks after dark. The biggest thrills at the grocery store, fighting over toilet paper. And then I said, Ma, I got the blues, quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues, quarantine blues. Well, your dog can get a bath, but you can't cut your hair. And unless it's essential, you can't go anywhere. You better be sure when you leave your home, they're tracking every move on your cell phone. Never thought I'd live to see this nightmare called a new reality. I got the blues, quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues, quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah, quarantine blues.
For the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. I am here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. For the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. I am here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, greater good of all, greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. Greater good of all, greater good of all.
welcome to the Sunday People of Diversity service. We are a multi-faith community. We believe that there are many paths to one divinity. We have 9 speakers of 9 different faiths or perspectives and 9 sets of musicians, and at the beginning of each series we give them a topic. We just finished up prayer, and this week we are starting with grief. Doesn't sound too happy, does it? I think it's going to be really amazing.
Powerful, yeah.
It's going to be good. So we give them a topic, they come back with the speakers come back with a message, and the musicians come back with 2 videos. We send it all to Philip. He puts it together in this Sunday service. So if you would like to help support this mission, Many Paths to One Divinity, go to www.peopleofdiversity.org and push that donate button right in the middle of the page. It helps us pay our speakers, it helps us pay our musicians, it helps us pay our technical help, and we'll keep this mission going. So thank you.
All right, so last week we had Reverend Lydia Junis, and she was accompanied by John Stringer. And as Becky mentioned, we begin a new series this week. The topic is grief. And because it was Swami Dhumavati's idea, she gets to go first. And Donna didn't get a vote. That's the rotation, and that's the way it happens. So Donna will do the music for us today. Next week, Zen Buddhist David Vidito will be joined by Jennifer Farron. So all of the previous services.
Just a minute, he's got to get the cat out of here. Close the door. Thank you.
So all of the past services can be found on the Pod Facebook page and group page. They're under the live, and they're in chronological order, and we're also working on creating and finishing off our YouTube page, which again will give all of our past services as well as the musicians. So deep dive directly following the morning services on Sunday from 11:45 to 12:15. You can always join us there whether you catch the service or not. We will be hanging out in that Zoom with hopefully our speakers. I know that we had a great time last week with Miss Lydia. And Swami always joins us. She likes that that hanging out, question and answer kind of atmosphere as well. So the evening service, 5:45 for the prelude, 6 o'clock for the service. And that's for when you want to drop back and catch the service again, or you want to send someone back to catch the service. That's also what we pin to the top of both pages so that you can refer back to it during the week before it is forever logged in the live feature on the page and group page. So I don't know if there's anything else I know other than to encourage you to connect with those 2 pages. The watch parties have forever gone away. You cannot connect, through our pages. You have to make that connection onto the page or the group, and you'll get notifications of everything that we're doing every time we do it.
So last week we finished up our blessing of the states of the United States of America states.
Mm-hmm.
So we are transitioning into blessing countries. And when I started looking up the fun facts, I realized how incredibly fortunate we are in this country, because some of these countries, it's going to be hard to find anything fun to say about them. So this week we're doing Afghanistan, And next week we're doing Albania. So if you know anything about Albania, if you've ever been to Albania, send us what you know to the email address below, and we'll use it in our facts about the country. So, Afghanistan, it's located in South Central Asia, has a population of approximately 33 million people, and it is roughly the size of Texas. Afghanistan has been at war for more than 30 years, and it is one of the poorest countries in the world. The world's oldest oil paintings are in the caves of Bamiyan in the central highlands of Afghanistan, and they date back to 650 BC. The national game is buzkashi, and in this game, players race to catch a goat. I'm not going to tell you what happens to the goat when they catch it, but they're riding horses, and it's apparently quite the sight to see this game going on, their national game. 99% of the Afghans are Muslim, and their government is ruled by Islamic laws. So prayer and fasting are observed by everyone. And even though access to electricity is among the lowest in the world, 18 million Afghans, which is more than half of their population, own and use mobile phones. And mobile phones are transforming Afghan lives and culture. So, let's take a deep breath. It's hard for a lot of these places, it's going to be hard to envision what their lives are like. But we know they want the same things that we want. They want peace. They want peace. They want love. They want prosperity. And we hold energy for the Afghans, and we see them with all of the good things in life. And we say these words together. May peace prevail in Afghanistan. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in me. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Ms. Donna Frost. I was texting with her today, and the last thing we said in our conversation was, I love you. And I do love you. She's always awesome and does her videos specifically for us. She's part of our pod family for absolutely sure. And I'm hoping now that the COVID stuff is hopefully going away, that she will be down here soon from Nashville, Tennessee. Come down and see us, and that will be awesome. Swami Dhumavati, like we said, it was her idea to do the topic of grief, and I think it's very timely. There's been a lot of sadness. We've been through a lot of things in the last year and a half, and so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what she has to say about grief. So enjoy, and we'll see you on the other side.
Hi everybody, it's Donna Frost coming to you from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Eddie's down here on the floor taking a nap, my dog. Glad to be a part of your service today, and things are starting to open back up and around, so hopefully I'll see you all in person sooner than later. But meanwhile, through the miracle of modern technology, I can be with you today. And today's topic is one that's much too familiar to me right now, grief. And I lost my mother in January to COVID-19, as a lot of you know. And this past 5 months have been very hard. But, you know, I have a very tight, close family, and, you know, my dad, my brothers, and my niece and nephews, and I are all trying to navigate through this together. And it's made our bond even stronger. Music has kept me going, and I've got, you know, so many things I've been able to do with my music. And another way to work through the sadness is I've been doing a lot of positive things, like my new album in her memory, and things that I write and things that I'm doing, work that I'm doing to help others, I do in her honor and memory. So just trying to keep her name and her spirit and her love alive. And she lives in me all the time. I got on her favorite color today, purple. Thought I'd wear that. And there's frogs behind me. See, my mother collected frogs. She loved them so much. And so everything's in honor of her. And this first song, it's sad, but but it's about being without her, and it's called Without You. All I can do is do all I can, trying to make sense of it all, too hard to understand. What mattered before is meaningless now. I'm just existing day to day somehow. Without you, I drift in this space. There's such an emptiness that can't be replaced. They say time eases the pain, but life is not the same without you. Looking for you everywhere I turn. Tears fall from my eyes, oh how they burn. Memories of what used to be comfort my soul. I know I have to stay strong and in control. Without you, I drift in this space. There's such an emptiness that can't be replaced. They say time eases the pain, but life is not the same without you. Someday I know I'll see you again, so I keep your spirit alive until then. Without you, I drift in this space. There's such an emptiness that can't be replaced. They say time eases the pain, but life is not the same without you. Life is not the same without you. There we go, Without You. And the second song I want to share with you is going to be on my brand new CD called The Quarantine Sessions Volume 2. And in fact, I got a note from us disc makers yesterday that my CDs have shipped. So I'm watching that front door, looking on that front porch, and they'll be here any time now. And so they'll be available soon. If you're interested in checking them out, you can email me at donnafrost12strings@gmail.com and order you one. And for my second song, this is my mother's saying. When facing adversity, she'd always say, you got to press on another day. And since she's been gone, it's really become our motto now. And I wrote this song about dealing with my grief. And what I know my mother is saying to me right now, press on, Donna. You got to press on. You got to keep going. And so this is a good optimistic, keep on going kind of song. And here we go. I've overcome many obstacles. They made me very strong. But lately I can't escape the sadness and feeling I don't belong. It's hard for me to smile when my heart is filled with pain. I wonder if I'll ever be my old self once again. I remember what my mama used to say. You gotta press on another day. You gotta press on another day. Nothing's ever perfect. Things don't always go your way. You make the best of a situation, whether it's good or bad. Remember all those blessings in your life you had. You gotta press on another day. Well, this mountain's been the highest I've ever tried to climb. I'm struggling with my emotions, I need some peace of mind. I'm trying to move forward and face the days ahead. And even though I'm hopeful, I still live with fear and dread. I remember what my mama used to say. You gotta press on another day. You gotta press on another day. Nothing's ever perfect, things don't always go your way. You make the best of a situation, whether it's good or bad. Remember all those blessings in life you had. You gotta press on another day. Go play for mama now. Before, how we always made it through, with faith and hope and a lot of love, and always staying true. We never compromised our beliefs, they made us who we are, and those lessons I've learned have carried me this far. I can still hear my precious mama say, you gotta press on another day. Yeah, you gotta press on another day. Nothing's ever perfect, things don't always go your way. You make the best of a situation, whether it's good or bad. Remember all those blessings in life you had. You gotta press on another day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta press on another day. One more time. You gotta press on another day. Like my mama used to say, press on another day. There we go. So press on another day. I love you all. Thank you for having me as part of your service, and hope everybody has a beautiful Sunday. I love you all. Bye-bye.
Namaste. My name is Swami Dhumavati, and I come to you today from Sacred Kashi Ashram in Sebastian, Florida. And our topic today is a very thought-provoking one of grief. And just let that land for a moment. And let's actually just start by going in and seeing where that is in ourselves right now. We're all at different places, different circumstances, but we've been living through COVID. There is an inevitability of having to deal with death, and so grief is right there. So let's just go in and sit with it for a moment. Allow yourself to connect with the breath and allow the breath to slow and deepen And then bring the focus of your inner awareness to your heart and gently breathe in and out of your heart. And in this moment right now, breathe in a little deeper into your heart and allow it to open, to stretch just a little bit. And in that place of opening, just notice if there is any sadness, any heaviness of grief that you are holding in your heart. Just acknowledge what is there. And we'll be talking about grief a little bit, and we'll come back to this place, but I just wanted to start by bringing this awareness. So breathing into the heart and opening the eyes again. And let's talk about grief. And inevitably, or not inevitably, but sometimes we skip over the reason for grief is usually death. And if we don't have the discussion about death first, then the grief is, I think, harder to navigate. It's harder to contextualize if we haven't looked at our feelings, our understandings, our beliefs around death. And particularly in our Western culture, this is not a popular topic. This is not something that we typically handle particularly well in our cultures, though obviously America is a huge culture and there are many subcultures within that. But I just would like us to bring our thoughts and our awareness to what we think about death, how we are comfortable or not comfortable around it. I know within my family, I lost both my parents in the last few years, and it was very interesting to see my other family members either avoiding or going in a comfortable way towards this topic of death. And at Kashi, we have a culture here of dealing with death. It really started in the 90s when we worked with people with AIDS, and young people were dying so fast before the medications came, and we were around death a lot, and including our younger kids. Our guru, would bring the young kids to the room of somebody who was dying so that they wouldn't be afraid of the body and its processes and what happens. So the mystery, the taboo, if you will, around death was very much dispelled, I would say, within the Kashi culture. So for that, I personally am very grateful, because for myself, when it came to my parents dying, I love that process. And maybe that may sound strange, to some people. Other people may get it, but the place where the person who is transitioning, and obviously I'm talking about a natural transition, one that isn't sudden, that isn't by some kind of awful event that has happened to cause death. And in the case of my parents, obviously it was old age, and I'm very grateful that they had that privilege, and I had that honor to be with them both through their dying days. And it's a very, to me, a very sacred place to be with somebody in those days, in those hours. And it's, to me, it's transformational. And yes, the transformation at death to me is as mystical as the transformation of birth. Though I have to say I'm not so comfortable being around birth, but I'll do the death thing, okay? Anyway, that's me. So bringing us back to the topic of grief, I think how we process grief starts with how we relate to death. What we believe happens to the body, the soul, whatever we actually believe in, different words for different people. What happens at death? Some people would say, oh, it's the end and you're done, and that's, it's so sad because they don't get another chance. For myself, and I would say at Kashi, the belief is in reincarnation, generally speaking, and that we have to come back and take form until we've learned what we need to learn. And so it's the cycle of life and death, and there isn't this harsh finality, and it isn't even like a Christian belief where you're going to go and be with Christ, or and that's it. It's more the yogic or the Hindu belief is more cyclical, like the Buddhists, that you have to keep coming back until you're done, and keep learning your lessons. So I think that perspective on death, to me, it's helpful. It gives me peace, and I would say comfort. Not that I understand karma to the point where it's like, oh, well, they're done, and well, that person still has a lot to do. I mean, I don't know those rules and equations, if you will. So let's go to grief and how it manifests. And obviously, there's many psychological and emotional profiles of what grief is, and the 6 or 10 stages of grief. I can't remember what it is, but there's cycles, right? And there's layers, and denial and anger and depression. All those things happen if we allow them, right? I think this is the gift of grief, if we allow it, is that the heart is cracked open, and we have to feel. We have to look at this pain in our hearts, and it's very humbling in a way, because if we can be honest with it, because it's actually a great equalizer. And again, particularly in this time of COVID, with so many people around the world deeply affected and, dealing with death. I mean, how many families don't have friends or family members who have died? And so the world is in a state of grief for many reasons, but very, very much this reason up front right now. And I think for me, having that awareness of having gone through my own grief, I can be more sensitive, more compassionate, more thoughtful around others as they go through their grief process, and how it bubbles up unexpectedly, how it can take you out at the knees for days without your understanding or realizing it exactly. So for myself, I found little kindnesses. Wow, they went a long way. They went a long way when I was particularly in the fresh places of grief, and I try and remember that when other friends are in that place also, and to make sure to just send a card, send some flowers, just send little messages to let them know, hey, I'm here, I'm thinking of you. And to me, it matters. That's the little kindnesses are the balm to yeah, I'm just feeling it right now. So yeah, it's right here. Yeah, the balm for a heart that is full. And also, obviously, our cultures have developed ways to cope with grief. And one of those ways, a very important way, is ritual. And I think that religions in particular have, if you like, codified that in different forms, like the clothes we wear. Do you wear black? Or in our case, we wear white for death, actually. And in India, it's the oldest son has to do the rituals and around the burning of the body, and that's it's the burning of the body. It's not a burying, and yet so many religions and beliefs have different ways of dealing with the body, with who does what, with what you wear, and how long you sit shiva, or all those kind of rituals. And yet, when all of that is over, when all the immediate drama, if you will, of the passing of a loved one is over, then I think the hard work begins. And this tenderness that is in our hearts, I think, is it's something to be aware of ourselves, in ourselves, when that tenderness is near the surface, and it can make us feel vulnerable. It can make us feel wanting to hide away. It can make us more reactive in circumstances where we wouldn't normally be reactive. And again, I bring that around to how we interact with others when they are going through their grief. And particularly, I think that it can be difficult it can be difficult to know how to act at a time of death, at a time of grief. How do you act with somebody who is in tremendous pain and you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do? And my wife is a hospice nurse, among other things. And she has such a beautiful way of being with family and people and knowing what to say and what to do. And I've learned so much from being with her and watching her just naturalness and deep, deep thoughtfulness, yet without being invasive in it. It seems like it's that balance of obviously knowing who the people are and whether they want somebody with them or they don't, or sometimes it's just being silent and just being simple with somebody, um, and checking. There's this thing around grief that sometimes we take on other people's grief, and I think we have to be careful here about whose grief is it, and there has to be a degree of detachment. And obviously, there needs to be detachment, like if you're going to work and dealing with the public and you can't be bawling your eyes out in the middle of a job. Trying to be detached from our own feelings, so that they're not all over the place, but also detached from other people's grief so that we don't get messy in it, right? That we don't um, get involved in a way that actually hasn't directly got to do with us. It's about that person. So I think keeping those boundaries, if you will, clear and clean is helpful. Um, I think of people's reactions to my grief, and if sometimes people put their own layers of grief muddled in with mine, it's like, no, that's mine. It's not yours. Yes, you have yours, but this is mine. So anyway, just food for thought around that. There's this thing about grief breaking your heart open. What happens if we don't let it happen? What if it's a difficult circumstance where somebody has died? Maybe it's drug addiction. Maybe it's suicide. Maybe it's a violent murder. Maybe there's just terrible trauma around the death, and it's really hard to even come anywhere near it. How do we deal with that? How do we process that? And again, obviously there's many grief therapies and grief whatever counselors and all that stuff is available, but there's a if we don't deal with grief when it's there, it's gonna come back and bite us. It just will. It's such a powerful, deep, profound experience, feeling, place, all those things. And if we try and keep it in, if we try not to deal with it, if we don't allow the process, we feel like it's not right, or, for whatever reason, maybe whatever, then it can make us really, really angry. Wow, unexpressed grief. It's a killer. And this is just a personal example, perhaps. I got to spend some time on an army base, and I watched the people there, the military families and staff and all that, on the base, and I felt so much sadness and anger. And I was fairly certain that a lot of that came from a culture within the military that honestly doesn't deal well with grief. And yet here you have, hundreds of thousands of, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds and thousands of military who were killed in different scenarios. And yet, if that death isn't dealt with, it comes out really badly. So just an example of to me, what I observed, not, anyway, just an observation. It can be very dangerous to suppress grief. And then I'd like to end on this point that, so I give an example around this of one of my favorite movies, Steel Magnolias. And I don't know if you've seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, see it. Just brilliant actresses, brilliant. And at one point, one of the main characters has lost her child. And she's in the graveyard with her friends, and she is just screaming and yelling and so upset about losing her child. And Olympia Dukakis brings Shirley MacLaine, and she says, yeah, so the dialogue goes, oh, I'm so mad, I could hit somebody. And so Olympia Dukakis brings Shirley MacLaine. She says, here, this is your chance to do something for humanity. Let her hit you. And it was just everybody just in the group just started laughing. And there's this beautiful thing, this juxtaposition of grief and joy. And they're not opposite sides of the coin. I think they're actually side by side. So that the grief with the pain and the tears is side by side with joy, with laughter, where we're crying. Now, the crying can be tears of joy or tears of sadness, and the place of the line between those two is it's small. It's not a big line. It can turn either way. So just an observation, and just see how that feels for you, if that lands right. And I think it's because joy is open-hearted, and tears of joy are from an open heart overflowing. Tears of grief is your heart is open for a different reason, but it's about the heart. So I think I'm going to end there. I think I'm just a little bit right at time there. So just closing the eyes for a minute. Connect in with the heart. And offer a prayer of gratitude for grief. Gratitude for this opportunity we have to have our hearts broken. Because it reminds us how deeply we have loved. Gratitude for love, even when and as it hurts. Gratitude for the mysteries and the beauty of our hearts. gratitude. Breathing into our heart. And namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Donna. You're great and wonderful, and you just speak to our hearts every single time. It's just like being in your living room or on your porch. Thank you. And Swami, you always come from your heart. You're always straightforward and so enlightening. Thank you so much. We love you too. Philip, thank you. We just so appreciate everything Philip does for us. I always say he's like the duck on top of the water. He's floating on top and he's paddling like crazy underneath. So we really appreciate everything Philip and his team do for us. And if you have needs in this technical world, contact Philip and he will be able to help you out. Join us right after this, 11:45 to 12:15, 30 minutes and no more, even though lots of times we don't want to quit. We do anyway. For the live deep dive, Swami Dhumavati will be there if she can, and she usually is. So we'll just talk about the message, talk about what's going on, and just have a little face-to-face contact time. It's great. Then tonight at 5:45, we will rebroadcast this service. So come back and join us for that. And next week, don't forget, next week is our Zen Buddhist representative, Dave Vidito, and his musical guest will be Jennifer Farron, and that will be an awesome combination.
That will be a good combination, yeah. All right, www.peopleofdiversity.org. That's where you can go to support this community, to make your tithe, to make your donation, whatever you choose to call it. Hit that donate button in the middle of that website and do as you're moved. We want to take just a moment and say thank you for those offerings and gifts. So if you could center yourself, put your feet on the ground, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath. Spirit, thank you for this opportunity to give, to tithe, to be a part of, to support and be within this community. We are so very, very grateful. And we say amen. Now, don't click off just yet. The best part of the entire service is this next piece. So, we're going to play an amazing song. We're going to invite you to bring to your mind, bring to your heart, bring to your spirit those folks around you who might need a little support. As things are changing and coming back alive, lots of things are going to change and people are going to need support in this process. And that might be you and me. So don't forget to put yourself in the circle.
Absolutely.
And let's send some energy out, open up and receive some energy in. Listen to this amazing song. Have a great day. We'll see you this evening. We'll see you during the week or next week. Just have a great day.
Thank you.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you.